First contact and deception. The Deep Space Monitoring Station at Atacama sent the first alert at 2:17 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Commander Sarah Chen was reviewing personnel reports when her neural implant pinged with an urgent notification. The holographic display above her desk shifted to show a cascade of anomalous readings from the quantum detection array. "This can't be right," she muttered, expanding the data stream with a gesture. The readings showed a massive gravitational distortion approaching from the direction of the Carina Nebula, moving at speeds that shouldn't be possible according to conventional physics. She was about to flag it as an equipment malfunction when similar alerts began pouring in from monitoring stations across the globe. Within minutes, every major observatory from Mauna Kea to the lunar Farside array was tracking the anomaly. Central Command, this is Commander Chen at Atacama Station. She broadcast through her neural link, requesting emergency conference with all station chiefs. We have multiple confirmed readings of. She paused, barely able to believe what she was seeing, of what appears to be a large fleet of vessels approaching the solar system. The response was immediate. "Stand by for secure connection, Commander." Her office dissolved around her as the holographic environment shifted, replacing her surroundings with a virtual conference room. One by one, the avatars of other station commanders materialized around the table, along with the stern figure of Fleet Admiral Victor Santos. "Report, Commander Chen," Santos ordered, his avatar's expression grim. Sarah gestured, and a three-dimensional representation of the sensor data appeared above the virtual table. Initial readings detected a massive gravitational anomaly approaching from the Carina sector. Follow-up analysis confirms it's a fleet of approximately 200 vessels of varying sizes. Based on their energy signatures, we're looking at technology far beyond our current capabilities. "Hostile?" asked Commander Jackson from Lunar Farside. "Unknown," Sarah replied. "They're making no attempt to mask their approach. In fact, she manipulated the data, highlighting a particular energy signature. They're broadcasting some kind of signal directly toward Earth." Admiral Santos leaned forward. "Have we decoded it?" "The quantum AI is working on it now, sir. It appears to be." Sarah's eyes widened as the translation appeared in her field of vision. "It's a greeting, in perfect English." The virtual room fell silent as the message began to play. "People of Earth, we come in peace as representatives of the Galactic Concordat. We seek diplomatic contact with your world and offer friendship among the stars." "Well," Commander Jackson said dryly, "at least they're polite about it." But Sarah was already diving deeper into the data, her enhanced neural processes analyzing patterns that others might miss. Something about the energy distributions didn't match the peaceful message. The fleet's formation was too precise, too military. And there were power signatures that suggested weapon systems far more massive than needed for a diplomatic mission. "Sir," she said, interrupting the ongoing discussion about first contact protocols, "something's wrong. The fleet's energy signature shows they're running active targeting systems. Their weapons are powered down but primed for immediate activation. This isn't a diplomatic fleet. It's an invasion force trying to catch us off guard." Admiral Santos' avatar stared at her for a long moment. "You're certain?" "Yes, sir. They're broadcasting peace while preparing for war. Classic deception tactics." The Admiral's expression hardened. "Then it's fortunate we've been preparing for this possibility. Commander Chen, initiate Protocol Omega. All stations, go to maximum alert status. And someone wake up Dr. Rivera. It's time to test his quantum defense grid." As the virtual conference dissolved, Sarah felt a mix of dread and determination. Humanity was about to face its greatest challenge, but they weren't as helpless as their visitors assumed. For decades, they had been preparing for this moment, developing technologies in secret that would make any invader think twice about threatening Earth. The aliens thought they were being clever with their deception. They were about to learn that humans had written the book on fighting dirty when backed into a corner. Looking at the approaching fleet, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Let them come with their lies and their overwhelming force. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and its own destructive tendencies. These aliens were about to learn why you don't underestimate a species that had turned survival into an art form. She opened a secure channel to the quantum research facility buried deep beneath the Himalayas. Dr. Rivera, we're going to need Project Prometheus ahead of schedule. How quickly can you bring the system online? The response came back immediately. We've been ready for years, Commander. Just give the word. Sarah looked once more at the massive fleet approaching Earth, still broadcasting their messages of peace while their weapons waited to strike. Then let's show our visitors why humanity's greatest strength has always been turning other people's weapons against them. The game was on, and Earth's players had been practicing for centuries. The hidden arsenal. Dr. Marcus Rivera stood in the heart of Project Prometheus, a vast chamber carved into the living rock of the Himalayas. The facility sprawled through miles of tunnels, but this central room housed humanity's greatest secret, and perhaps its last hope. Power readings are stable, his assistant Dr. Maya Patel reported, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. The quantum matrix is holding at 99.8% efficiency. At the center of the chamber, suspended in a containment field, floated what looked like a simple sphere of darkness. But Rivera knew better. That darkness was a controlled quantum singularity, the result of 30 years of secret research and development. Status update from surface stations, Maya continued. The alien fleet has entered lunar orbit. They're still broadcasting peace messages, but Commander Chen's analysis was correct. They're positioning for a full orbital assault. Rivera nodded, his dark eyes fixed on the monitoring screens. They think they're being subtle. Typical of advanced civilizations, they always underestimate primitive species. He turned to face the assembled team of scientists and engineers. What they don't realize is that we've been studying their technology for decades. The main screen showed a live feed of the alien fleet. Massive ships, each one gleaming like polished obsidian, hung in perfect formation above the Earth. Their design was beautiful, elegant, and completely vulnerable to what humanity had prepared. You see, Rivera continued, walking around the quantum core, their entire technological base relies on controlled gravitational manipulation. Their weapons, their drives, their shields, all of it depends on stable quantum fields. He smiled, and we figured out how to disrupt those fields. A priority alert flashed across their screens. The alien fleet had begun broadcasting a new message, this one dropping all pretense of peace. People of Earth, your time for peaceful submission has ended. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to resist our power. Surrender now or face immediate subjugation. Well, Maya said dryly, at least they're honest now. Rivera's smile turned grim. Signal Command Center. Tell them Project Prometheus is ready for Phase 1. The next few minutes were a blur of activity as final checks were performed and systems were brought to full power. The quantum core pulsed with dark energy, its containment field stretching and flexing as it prepared to unleash its power. They're launching their first wave, Maya reported. Energy readings suggest they're planning to target major military installations first. Predictable, Rivera muttered. They always go for military targets first, thinking they'll cripple our response capability. He turned to his chief engineer. Status of the orbital reflectors. All stations report ready, sir. The satellite network is aligned and prepared to channel the quantum pulse. Rivera took a deep breath. This was the moment they had prepared for, the culmination of decades of secret research and development. If their calculations were wrong, if their understanding of the alien technology was flawed in any way, Earth would be defenseless against the coming assault. Begin power-up sequence, he ordered. And someone get me a direct line to Commander Chen. She needs to know exactly when to trigger the planetary defense grid. The quantum core's pulsing increased, its dark surface rippling like the surface of a disturbed pond. Around it, dozens of scientists and engineers worked at their stations, monitoring every fluctuation, every tiny variation in the quantum field. Sir, Maya called out suddenly, We're detecting massive energy spikes from the alien fleet. They're powering up their main weapons. Rivera's face hardened. They're not going to give us time for a warning shot. Initiate full power sequence now. Channel everything through the orbital network. The chamber filled with a deep thrumming as Project Prometheus reached full power. The quantum core's surface began to fracture, releasing tendrils of pure darkness that writhed against the containment field. Energy levels at maximum, Maya reported, her voice steady despite the tension. Quantum field stabilized. Ready for discharge on your command. Rivera looked at the tactical display, watching as the alien fleet began their attack run. Their massive ships moved with graceful precision, weapons charging, completely unaware of what awaited them. They think they're dealing with primitives, he said softly. They think we'll be shocked by their technology, cowed by their power. He pressed his hand against the main control panel. Time to show them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology. It's our ability to learn from our enemies. The alien fleet opened fire, their energy weapons lancing down toward Earth's surface. But before the beams could reach their targets, Rivera gave the command. Execute Phase 1. Project Prometheus roared to life, sending a pulse of quantum energy through the orbital satellite network. The pulse spread outward like a ripple in space-time itself, invisible but unstoppable. When it reached the alien fleet, their elegant technology began to fail in ways its designers had never imagined possible. The first wave of invasion had begun, but humanity was ready to show the galaxy why you should never underestimate a species that had spent its entire history preparing for the worst. Counter-strike. Admiral Kenzo Tanaka watched from the bridge of the EDS Hyperion as the alien fleet's formation began to break apart. Project Prometheus had worked exactly as Dr. Rivera predicted. The quantum pulse had completely disrupted the enemy's gravitational control systems. Multiple contacts losing altitude, reported Lieutenant Emma Foster, her hands flying over the tactical display. Their primary systems are failing. Shields down, weapons offline. They're falling into defensive positions. Tanaka allowed himself a tight smile. The enemy fleet's elegant formation had dissolved into chaos as their ships struggled to maintain orbital stability. Now came the dangerous part. All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt, he ordered. Remember your training. Hit fast, hit hard, and don't give them time to adapt. Across Earth's orbit, humanity's hidden fleet emerged from their concealed positions. Unlike the sleek alien vessels, Earth's ships were brutal, practical machines built around a single principle. Survive first, look pretty later. Their hulls were covered in layers of adaptive armor, designed to absorb and redirect energy weapons. Sir, Foster called out, the enemy flagship is attempting to re-establish their quantum field matrix. They're adapting faster than predicted. Of course they are, Tanaka replied calmly. They're not stupid, just arrogant. Launch the drones. From the belly of each Earth ship emerged swarms of autonomous combat drones. These weren't the elegant machines the aliens might have expected from a primitive species. These were products of humanity's long history of warfare. Small, deadly, and absolutely ruthless. Drone swarms engaging, Foster reported. Enemy point defense systems are still offline. We're getting clean hits. On the main display, Tanaka watched as the drones attacked in coordinated waves. They targeted crucial systems that Rivera's team had identified from decades of studying alien technology. Each hit was precise, calculated, exploiting weaknesses that the aliens never thought anyone would discover. Sir, enemy vessels are launching fighters. Tanaka nodded. Right on schedule. Commander Chen, you're up. From her position at Atacama Station, Sarah Chen activated the second phase of humanity's defense. The orbital satellite network, already used to channel Project Prometheus's quantum pulse, now served a new purpose. Thousands of microsatellites began broadcasting on frequencies that Rivera's team had discovered were critical to alien neural interfaces. The effect was immediate. The alien fighters, heavily dependent on their advanced neural control systems, began to falter. Some spiraled out of control, while others simply shut down, floating helplessly in space. Enemy fleet is attempting to regroup, Foster reported. They're falling back to lunar orbit. Reading massive energy signatures, they're charging their main weapons. They're getting desperate, Tanaka observed. Good. Signal Dr. Rivera. Tell him to prepare Phase 2 of Project Prometheus and get me a direct channel to their flagship. The communication system crackled to life, and a holographic image appeared on the bridge. The alien commander was tall, elegant, with crystalline features that might have been beautiful if they weren't twisted with rage. "You primitive savages," the alien spat. "How dare you resist the Empire's grace? We offered you peace." "No," Tanaka replied calmly. "You offered us submission while preparing for conquest. We simply chose to reject your offer in a language you understand. You cannot hope to defeat the Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. And that's exactly why you're losing now," Tanaka said. "You've forgotten what it's like to fight an enemy who has nothing to lose. Humanity hasn't forgotten. We've spent our entire history preparing for this moment." He gestured, and the tactical display showed the alien fleet's deteriorating position. Their sophisticated technology, usually an overwhelming advantage, had become a liability. Every system they relied on was being turned against them by humans who had spent decades studying, adapting, and preparing. "Last chance," Tanaka offered. "Withdraw your forces and leave our solar system. Otherwise, we'll show you exactly why humanity has survived every threat it's ever faced." The alien commander's response was to cut the communication and order his fleet to charge their superweapons. Tanaka had expected nothing less. "All ships, execute attack pattern Delta," he commanded. "Dr. Rivera, initiate Phase 2. Let's show them what happens when you corner a species that turns survival into an art form." As Project Prometheus unleashed its second quantum pulse, Tanaka reflected on the irony. The aliens had come expecting to find primitives playing with technology they barely understood. Instead, they found a species that had taken their own weapons and turned them into something new, something uniquely, terrifyingly human. The counter-strike had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or its weapons, but its relentless determination to survive. The Empire's gambit. The Imperial flagship's command center was in chaos. Supreme Commander Vixthor watched in mounting horror as his mighty fleet, pride of the Empire's third expansion force, crumbled before what should have been an easy conquest. "Impossible," he hissed, his crystalline features reflecting the emergency lights. "These primitives, they couldn't have." "My lord," his second-in-command interrupted, "we've lost contact with the entire southern battle group. Their quantum cores are completely destabilized. And the humans," the officer hesitated, "they're not just defending. They're learning. Each counterattack is more precise than the last." Vixthor studied the tactical display. The humans had somehow turned the Empire's own technology against them, using methods that shouldn't have been possible for their level of development. But there was one weapon they couldn't have prepared for. "Initiate Protocol Omega," he commanded. "Deploy the Worldbreaker." Back on Earth, Dr. Rivera was monitoring the battle from Project Prometheus when his quantum sensors detected something new, something terrifying. "Commander Chen," he broadcast urgently, "they're assembling something in lunar orbit. The energy readings, I've never seen anything like this." Sarah Chen was already analyzing the data. "It's like they're creating a controlled quantum singularity, but the scale is massive." "Admiral Tanaka, are you seeing this?" "I see it," Tanaka replied grimly. "Dr. Rivera." Analysis. Rivera's fingers flew over his controls. "They're combining their remaining ship's quantum cores into a single massive weapon. The power output would be enough to..." He paled. "It could crack Earth's crust like an eggshell." "Can Project Prometheus counter it?" "Not directly. Our quantum disruption field isn't designed for something this size. We'd need to. Rivera stopped, his eyes widening. Maya, get me the calculations for the resonance cascade effect. Now. Maya Patel's hands blurred across her console. Already on it. If we can't disrupt their quantum field directly, maybe we can. Turn it against itself. Rivera finished. Commander Chen, I need control of the entire satellite network. Admiral Tanaka, can your fleet hold them off for another 15 minutes? We'll give you 20, Tanaka replied. Whatever you're planning, make it count. The next quarter hour was a desperate race. While Earth's fleet engaged in a brutal dance with the remaining Imperial ships, Rivera's team worked frantically to reconfigure Project Prometheus. In lunar orbit, the Imperial World Breaker continued to form, its power signature growing exponentially. They're almost ready to fire, Chen reported. Whatever we're going to do, it needs to be now. Rivera looked at his team, at the years of work and preparation that had led to this moment. What we're about to attempt has never been done before, he said. We're going to create a quantum resonance wave that will match their weapon's frequency, but slightly out of phase. Like creating an anti-wave? Maya asked. More like turning their own quantum singularity into a mirror, Rivera explained. When they fire, their energy will reflect back into their own systems. But the timing has to be perfect. The Imperial flagship's communications suddenly boomed across all channels. Humans, Vix Thor's voice proclaimed, you have demonstrated surprising capability. But the Empire cannot be defeated. Surrender now, or watch your world burn. Admiral Tanaka's response was immediate. We don't surrender. We never have. Fire your weapon and find out why. The World Breaker's energy signature peaked. At Project Prometheus, Rivera initiated the quantum resonance wave. Across Earth's orbit, thousands of satellites adjusted their positions by fractions of millimeters, creating a perfect geometric pattern. Energy spike, Chen called out. They're firing. The World Breaker unleashed its power, a beam of pure quantum energy that could shatter planets. But when it hit Earth's orbital network, something unexpected happened. The beam didn't penetrate. Instead, it began to twist, caught in the quantum resonance field that Rivera had created. Field stability at 95%, Maya reported. The reflection is working. Rivera watched in fascination as the laws of physics bent to human ingenuity. The World Breaker's energy beam curved like a snake, turning back toward the Imperial fleet. But it wasn't just reflecting. It was amplifying. My lord, the Imperial second-in-command's voice was panicked. The weapon's energy. It's feeding back into our systems. Vix Thor stared in disbelief as his ultimate weapon became his fleet's undoing. The quantum feedback loop grew stronger, cascading through the carefully aligned Imperial ships, overloading their cores one by one. How? He demanded. How did they do this? The answer, had he lived to hear it, was simple. Humanity had done what it always did. It had taken its opponent's strength and turned it into a weakness. The Empire's mighty fleet had brought overwhelming force, only to find that force turned back upon itself by a species that had spent millennia learning to survive against impossible odds. As the Imperial flagship's quantum core went critical, Admiral Tanaka sent one final message. Remember this day. Remember what happens when you underestimate humanity's will to survive. The explosion lit up lunar orbit like a new sun, marking the end of the Empire's grand ambition and the beginning of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. Humanity's response. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, Commander Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Council in Geneva. The Great Chamber, with its soaring glass dome and ancient wooden panels, was packed with representatives from every nation on Earth. Through the windows, the debris cleanup operation was visible in the night sky. Humans and robots working together to clear the orbital lanes of Imperial wreckage. The quantum data recovered from the Imperial flagship has been fully decoded, Chen reported, her voice carrying across the hushed chamber. What we've learned changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy. Behind her, A holographic map flickered to life, showing thousands of star systems. Red dots indicated Imperial strongholds, while blue marked their client worlds. The Empire's territory was vast, but not infinite. They've conquered over 300 civilizations, she continued, each time following the same pattern: appear with overwhelming force, offer peace while preparing for war, then subjugate any who resist. We're the first to not only survive their initial assault, but to defeat them completely. Dr. Rivera stepped forward, looking considerably more tired than he had 3 months ago. The quantum technology we developed wasn't just a weapon, he explained. It's opened up entirely new fields of scientific understanding. We can now detect Imperial communications across vast distances, and what we're hearing is interesting. The holographic display shifted, showing real-time translations of intercepted Imperial messages, reports of confusion, fear, and most importantly, revolution. Admiral Tanaka, his uniform bearing new medals, addressed the Council next. The Empire's defeat at Earth wasn't just a military loss, it was a psychological one. Their entire society is built on the myth of inevitable victory. We shattered that myth. And now, every subjugated world is watching, learning, and preparing to follow our example. Maya Patel, recently promoted to head of quantum communications, brought up new data streams. We're already receiving messages from resistance movements on dozens of worlds. They want to know how we did it. They want to learn. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some argued for isolation. Earth had won its freedom. Why risk more conflict? Others pushed for immediate expansion, to strike while the Empire was weakened. But Chen had one more piece of information to share. There's something else you need to see, she announced, bringing up a new hologram. This was hidden deep in their databases. The real reason they targeted Earth. The image showed complex genetic sequences, comparing human DNA with various alien species. Humanity is unique, she explained. Our adaptability, our creativity, our sheer stubborn determination to survive. It's unprecedented in the galaxy. The Empire didn't just want our resources. They wanted to study us, to understand why we're different, and then to eliminate what they saw as a potential threat. Rivera stepped forward again. But in doing so, they gave us exactly what we needed to defeat them. Their crashed scout ship in 1947 wasn't an accident. It was a test to gauge our response. They expected us to fight over it, to destroy ourselves trying to understand it. Instead, we learned from it. We adapted. We prepared. And now, Tanaka added, we have a choice to make. We can hide behind our defenses and wait for the next threat, or we can do what humanity has always done, push forward into the unknown. The chamber fell silent as the council president stood. What exactly are you proposing? Chen smiled. A new initiative, Project Prometheus, proved we could adapt alien technology to our needs. Now we can do more. We can help other worlds resist the Empire. We can build alliances. We can show the galaxy that there's an alternative to submission. And if the Empire retaliates, someone asked, then they'll learn again why you don't threaten a species that turns survival into an art form, Tanaka replied. But this time, they won't just face humanity. They'll face every world we've helped free. The council debated through the night, but in the end, the decision was unanimous. Earth would not hide from its new reality. Project Prometheus would be expanded, its technology shared with trusted allies. The quantum defense network would become the backbone of a new interstellar communication system. As Chen left the council chamber, she paused to watch the sunrise. Somewhere out there, the Empire was still reeling from its defeat, trying to understand how their perfect plan had failed so completely. They would never understand that their greatest mistake wasn't underestimating humanity's technology or military capability. Their mistake was thinking that superior technology meant superior civilization. They forgot that true strength comes not from the weapons you possess, but from the spirit that drives you to use them. Humanity had spent its entire history learning that lesson, surviving against impossible odds, adapting and evolving. Now it was time to teach that lesson to the stars. The age of humanity's isolation was over. The galaxy would never be the same.